What's going on, guys? It is Tony from Lone Wolf, and today we're talking what to look for when buying your first speedball marker.
And why? Who's the best source for speedball guns?
It's lonewolfpaintball.com. You guys already know that, and if you don't, if you're new here, it's still lonewolfpaintball.com. So you guys have used rental equipment, maybe use your buddy stuff, and you're ready to dive into the world of speedball. Let's take a look at options and what you guys really should be considering. Are you looking for comfortability, marker length, barrels, feed necks, on-off ASAs, trigger options? We're going to talk about all that. If you're like, I don't even know what he just said, we'll dive into that. We've got an Empire Mini GS, beautiful marker right here. Next up, we've got the Die Rise CZR. We got that bad boy. On the table, we've got the Empire X 2.0. And then lastly, for beginner speedball markers, we've got the Planet Eclipse ETHA 3. So Mark, if you were diving into your first speedball marker, what would be the most, considering factor as to what you should purchase? What did you think?
So the first thing I want to make sure is that I have a rate of fire that can keep up with anybody else I'm playing with. I don't want to be overwhelmed by any other player. And unfortunately, because I'm starting off and I don't know how long I'm going to do this, I need a good price factor that isn't going to break the bank.
So you want something that's budget friendly and then also could compete with the other guys out there.
Yes.
Empire Mini GS, retail price on these bad boys currently $300. And yes, if you want to keep up with them, this gun is electronic and fully programmable. So that is a great option, and I like that you brought that up because you don't want to be, underpowered out there on the field. You've got the Die Rise CZR, which is another great option, also fully electronic, fully programmable. Tons of different modes on all of these markers we're going to show here today. So if you guys are looking for something that can keep up with the current NXL stuff around 10.5 balls per second, all of these guns can reach that with the electronic boards and the batteries that they're powered by. We've got the Empire X 2.0 you're going to be looking at here. Also, once again, fully programmable, has all the different firing modes, including some stuff that might be really, really fast, but you can check out our other videos on the channel if you want to know if it does go full auto or not. Check them out. And then the PE Planet Eclipse ETHA 3. Really, really like this one. I think PE did a really good job on that. So yes, all of these markers fully programmable, reachable to the NXL levels and beyond. Next up, if you were looking for, what would you say, comfortability, maintenance-wise, that's a huge factor into what marker. Can I pull the bolt out easily or not? Stuff like that. So
No, I really just care if I look cool after price and can shoot good.
Really? Yeah. So like something like the Empire Mini GS, one of the most efficient markers out there, but if I was going to maintenance my bolt after shooting so many pods of paint, you gotta take out a simple screw back here to pull the bolt out. So something like that, if you guys are considering that ease of maintenance, it's one screw, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, but I look like a noob with that one. Everybody knows the Mini GS is everybody's starter electronic gun.
That is true, but it shoots a lot of pods on one tank fill. I'll give it that. The Die Rise CZR, kind of same thing. You're gonna need an Allen wrench back here in the bolt cap to make sure your core comes out. So you're gonna still need a tool to get your bolt out to maintenance, lube, and replace the O-rings on it. So
yeah, but what's that weird thing hanging down at the bottom? What is this, 1989? Who's got a macro line anymore? Get that thing out of here.
You're talking this, Mark.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, I know. It's not hoseless. It still has the old school macro line.
Yeah, it looks like I inherited my dad's marker. Come on.
Yeah, but still, it's a really, really good marker, even though it has the macro line on there. So if that's something that you guys don't want, then apparently it's not for you. Keep on moving to guns that don't have, any hose or anything in here. Everything that runs straight up through the grip and then into the valve system here. But we were talking about the bolts. You got me off track here, Mark. But if you guys like bolt maintenance, those other ones I needed tools. This one, you simply press, there's a push button back here, which I'll show you right here. There's the push button, and then you can actually access the core of the marker to maintenance and change out your O-rings with no tools needed. So I do like that. That's a pretty good option there without having to bust out tools. But
that kind of looks just like the Mini, though.
It is. It's the X 2.0. It's the big brother to the Mini. So
aren't people going to think I'm just running a Mini?
No, they'll know the difference. It's a little bit bigger of a marker, and we're going to get into comfortability, which is another thing that you guys should be considering when purchasing your first, beginner speedball marker. PE Ether 3 fully electronic. Like I said, this one's got the gamma core. Simply pull this up, and then the bolt system should just slide right on out. Once again, ease of maintenance is something you guys should be considering, is do I want to bust out my tool set to get this thing apart? So some of the options there are,
Wait, that one's got the style I like. I like the milling. I like the look of it. Does it come in anything other than black, though?
The Ether 3s, yeah, they do make a couple different colors. They make an earthen black. They make, HK Army came out with some special options for the Ether 3. So yeah, it's not just only in black. They've got some other custom options that are going to cost you, a little bit more. The Ether 3s, speaking of price points, touched a little bit on the GS, I believe, but the Ether 3s are running $550-ish?
Yes, sir, for the base model.
Okay, hit the X 2.0. What's this rocking, Mark?
X 2.0 is $425 for the base model.
Die Rise CZR?
That would be $375.
And then we're hitting the GS again, $300, right?
Okay, for $300 I can look like a noob because I'm still gonna smoke fools out there.
100%. Let's go to barrels. Barrels are important to you guys. Let's talk about every single one of these guns comes with a 2-piece barrel, and every single one of these are auto cocker thread. So there's so many different options. Even the higher end tournament markers above and beyond this are all auto cocker thread. And the amount of barrel kits and options out there are close to limitless, to be honest.
Other than, so in my mind, you pick the marker first, right? Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go in with the Mini GS. The next thing you gotta consider is a good tank, a good hopper that can keep up for sure. And then the next thing I kind of look at is I want a good barrel. I'm going for a freak kit. I'm going for an HK Orbit.
You're looking for accuracy. Yeah. Like you said, you got to have a great hopper to feed it. You got to have a nice tank or something that can at least get you into it. But barrels on all of these markers, like I said, them all, anywhere from 14 to 15 inches. You can buy your upgraded barrel kit down the road because all these stock barrels, they shoot really well. Mini GS, 688 stock bore on there. You got the Die Rise CZR, 688 stock bore, Empire X 2.0, 688 stock bore, good bore to have, kind of in the middle, and then 689 for your PE, the Ether 3. So yeah, all of 688 to 689 stock barrels, all 2-piece barrels, but tons of upgrade options available for you guys.
Hey, nobody's ever broke paint because their barrel was too big.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, unless you got some really brittle paint or something wonky's going on there. Next thing to consider, maybe it's super important to you guys. How easy the feed neck, depending on what hopper you guys are using. Is it toolless? Do I need any tools? Empire Mini GS. So you are going to need an Allen wrench here, but it does have a locking lever clamp on this side. So once you get your hopper size figured out, depending on what you're using, then you can just, flip the lever and beyond, but you will need an Allen wrench. Looks like the same thing with that Die Rise CZR. If you're looking for ease of the feed neck, once again, you're going to need an Allen wrench there, and then it does have the flip lever here to kind of lock and tighten that down so your hopper is not falling off on the field. Let's see, does any one of these? X 2.0, same exact thing as his little brother, the Mini. You need your Allen wrench to tighten it down, and then you have your locking lever on the other side. So,
I mean, realistically, it's annoying the first time, but unless you're using 2 different hoppers,
correct,
you're going to set it once, and it's pretty much going to be leave it alone and don't play with it. But then, everybody on the field, if you're playing speedball, you got Allen wrenches, and if you don't, shame on you. Just look. Is that a thumb wheel?
It is. We got the thumb wheel, so you don't need to bust out your Allen wrenches. We got the thumb wheel there.
And that's a good way to prank your friends. Go through the pits and just unscrew all their thumb wheels, so when they go to put their hoppers on, it doesn't sit straight.
You're an animal. So then you got the thumb wheel on the one side, you've got the locking lever on the other. So in my opinion, that one this isn't a versus battle, but I like that because I don't have to bust out my Allen wrenches. You want to go overall hold, comfortability, ergonomics. I think that's important for a new buyer out there, to be completely honest.
Sure. I've got a couple other features I think are more important, but...
Well, we got more. I mean, comfortability. The Mini GS, like you said earlier, the most... probably the most highly bought beginner electronic speedball marker out there. Super small, super slim, super sleek there, but it's tiny. Like once your tank is screwed onto this, I mean, this thing is tiny.
Which is
But
kind of what you want in Speedball. You
yeah,
want a low
I mean, you're trying to
profile.
stay a small profile. You're not like, oh, you're using a big scenario tactical gun, but very tiny. So a lot of the younger kids that are getting into it, this is exactly what they start with. It's a great marker. The Die Rise CZR definitely gives you a little bit of bigger grip and hold, I want to say. The ergonomics, they got their classic like hourglass frame back here. Feels really good when you actually hold it. And then you've got more space in between here. So I like
That
that.
hourglass frame is nice.
100%.
You don't think about it when you're first picking out a marker, but when you've held onto it for 6 hours off and on all day,
Yeah.
it makes a difference.
It definitely eases the hand. Yeah, it fits in that in your thumb region really well. And if you're a bigger dude, you got bigger hands. Something to consider that you can actually get your thumb in there, and you got a pretty good hold on that within there. Axe 2.0. So it's, like I said, bigger brother to the GS. You're talking hold. You got more space in between the trigger frame. If you guys are out there walking the triggers, we're going to talk about those next. So it's definitely a little bit bigger in this region. I do like that. And then the ETHA 3, probably, if you are a bigger dude and getting into Speedball, this has got some room to work here. So I really like that as well. I like it. All these triggers are rocking. I'm going to keep this in my hand. This is more of a flat blade style trigger. So if that's important to you guys, consider that. Stock right on out of the box. You've got a nice flat blade style trigger there. Axe 2.0. You can be looking at, it's got a little curve to it. Nothing too crazy, kind of not like the true deuce style triggers, but comfortable. And all these triggers are adjustable with set screws in there. So if you want a little lighter, a little bit longer pull, you can do that with every single one of these markers if that's important to you. But these bad boys out of the box, they shoot stock pretty well.
Would you say that the curved S-curve style trigger is more for people that like to do that walking motion versus a flat would be more for a single finger?
Just like the ramping mode, yeah. I feel like, the curved, or the guys, the older school guys back before, like, ramping was a huge thing. They really could kind of rock the trigger per se back and forth. But I mean, the blade, with all the electronics and all these markers, it's kind of just personal preference.
If you can pull it 3 times in a second, you're ramping.
Yeah, exactly. Keeping it up with it. The Die Rise CZR kind of has a little curve to it, but it's still kind of like that, almost that blade style trigger on there. And then the GS, you guys already saw, same exact as the Axe 2.0. It's got that little curve there. So if you guys are one of the ones that want to shoot semi and just be able to shoot it as quick as possible, you can really get that trigger motion going with that. So.
All right, can I ask what I think is slightly more important for these area markers?
Just tell me.
So if I'm a beginner speedballer, I'm gonna get into it. I also don't want to waste my money. So I want something that has flexibility to upgrade or improve before I make a huge leap into like a $800 marker, a $1,000+ marker.
Okay.
So like upgrades and stuff for the Mini, if I go this route, what can I do to make it a little bit better besides the barrel? We touched on barrels earlier.
Well, we can knock that out. Core is not going to change. The feed neck, I mean, you could, I think a couple companies made an aftermarket feed neck for there that you can kind of get the thumb wheel option. The biggest thing with the Mini and the Axe 2.0 is, I'll turn this on here. If you can see that light that's blinking in there.
Yep.
Just below this, you guys can buy a red line board for either the Mini or the Axe 2.0. It will be an LCD readout display screen, so you guys can program these, as we mentioned earlier, without having to program them by just using the colors. So it actually will have almost like a cell phone style readout display screen. You guys can go through all the functions and modes and program them. But that's obviously an upgraded feature you can buy down the road. That is not available for the ETHA 3 or the Die Rise CZR.
The Mini and the Axe also have body kits you can buy aftermarket to make the look a little bit different.
Yeah, Inception Designs, shout out to them. I'll throw that out there. Yeah, you can buy some body kits, and even guys at home even 3D print their own special modifications for, to make the design on the outside of the body look differently. So, I mean, there's a lot of upgrade options you can do. The most important, though, as you mentioned earlier, Mark, make sure you guys have a good barrel system. Doesn't matter any one of these markers that you guys dive into. Make sure you guys have a system that you guys can swap inserts or barrel backs in and out for to make sure you're shooting the correct bore size with the paint so that everything lines up and you guys are getting the most accurate shot as possible.
All right, so what can I upgrade on that CS?
You're talking the CZR?
Sorry. I got all the initials. All right, cool. Put it down. Next marker.
What do you want to upgrade on this?
The axe, we know it's the red line board again in the barrel. I think there's triggers too for the axe in the middle.
There has been a couple companies that, I know at least one, that have made custom triggers for the Empire and the axe as well, so you could check that out. For me though, I mean, for the ETHA 3, I don't think quite yet, but maybe that's coming here soon. If eyes are important, which that means it's feeding and seeing the ball into, well, not feeding, but seeing the ball into the chamber before the marker shoots. Every single one of these markers have eyes built in. So if you don't know what that is, the marker won't fire unless it knows a ball is fully in contact within the breech. And so you're not breaking paint or chopping paint, which you don't want that mess inside of your marker, in your barrel, or even back up into your hopper. So eyes are very important for me, probably important for a newer player. So check if you don't know what that is. Like I said, go back on the channel and you know, kind of look into that more. Ball detents, I like it. All of them got the ball detent system. The CZR though is the only one that I would say that has a very unique system here. I'll just pull the barrel off real quick. Like I said, you guys want full reviews on all these guns. We've already done them on the channel. This is just kind of what to look out for your first beginner marker. This is the only like beginner speedball that has this clear plastic sleeve with 2 ball detents, and that means the ball detent is stopping the ball from falling down the barrel and just kind of plopping out. So it keeps the ball centered in the breech before it fires. And that's the only one of these beginner ones that actually have this insert that slides out, and you can utilize that. So
they would call that an eye pipe.
They would call that an eye pipe. That is absolutely correct, Mark.
The ETHA 3, doesn't that use a similar bolt to some of the more higher end markers?
It does. It's got the gamma core in there, so it's.
Isn't there a soft tip that you can get for the gamma core?
You can, yeah. You can buy a soft tip bolt. There's all sorts of upgrades and stuff like that. So if you guys are shooting more brittle tournament paint, that's something to consider if that's what you guys are doing. Before I really kind of close this out, because like I said, I have full reviews on every single one of these markers. If you find like, okay, that was a cool feature, I want to know more, they're all on the channel. We've done efficiency tests with all of them as well. The ASA is very important. That's the air source adapter on here. And so depending on, all of these have the on-offs. So like the ETHA 3, you got a POPs ASA, engage, disengage. So all of these are going to allow you to release air and degas air when you're not using the marker, you're done playing for the day. So they all have those. Your very basic beginner guns don't. So look for, you know, if you're looking, you want that, you saw that one slides back and forth. This one's got just a lever on the bottom. Let me just, I gotta have to undo that a little bit. This one has a flip lever action. So if you guys are actually interested in that type of style, this one's got the flip lever. Over here, this one's just got a turn and twist for the die rise CZR. So engage and disengaging the air is kind of just a turn and twist motion here. And then the Mini GS, lastly, same as the X 2.0. That's the same flip lever style from the bottom. So factors to consider when purchasing your first speedball marker. I mean, you're talking barrels, fully programmable, yeah, electronics, your air source adapters here. How do you actually, you know, maintenance and operate these things is pretty important to me, because if you're a new player out there, like how easy is it to take out and replace my O-rings or grease the bolt? So once again, go check out videos. We have all maintenance videos. We have unboxings of all of these markers.
Can't they just send it to Caesar to have him do it every time?
Yeah, you can, no doubt about it.
All right, so real quick, just to close out. So Mini GS, $300. To move up to the die rise CZR at $375, what feature am I gaining on the CZR that would make me want to upgrade?
That would make you want to upgrade? I mean, it's kind of personal preference at that point.
I think the comfortability of the hourglass frame is huge.
That's a good point. I think it is definitely, and I'm a bigger guy, so first off, the comfortability back here is nice, and then having this grip option in between here is also better for me, but if you're a smaller kid getting into it, GS.
All right, then another $50 to jump to the X 2.0. What am I gaining from that I don't have on the CZR?
Ease and maintenance of the bolt system, which I showed you guys earlier. Press this little button here in the back, bolt slides out, grease, replace your O-rings down the road when you need to. So ease of maintenance, and it's a little bit bigger, more comfortable once again if you're a bigger guy.
And then macro line's out of the way.
Yeah, I don't have one of those.
And then the $75 price to the Ether 3. Why would I pick an Ether 3 over the X 2.0?
Simply because it's a dog. If you're shooting left or right-handed, you've got LED lights. Let me see if there's a battery in here.
What?
You got ones on each side. Do you see those flashing, Mark?
Oh my gosh, what's that do?
And look at this one.
Oh.
So if you're left or right-handed, it'll just let you know all the things that you need to know. And you need to know to shop at the best. It's lomopaintball.com.
Okay, answer your phone. See ya.